It's time for Credit Puppet!
Thank you, and welcome to this second installment of Credit Puppet.
Episode, CP,
Second episode of Credit Puppet, a show dedicated to helping people understand credit. And now, here's our independent, certified credit counselor, Rusty Cullen.
Thank you, CP. Thank you,
You're
CP.
You're welcome. Good to see you again.
Thank you. Hey, CP, who's your tailor?
Giorgio Armani.
Isn't that something? I'm thinking about getting me a green suit. I may have to go see him.
I don't know, Green's not quite
Thank you all for joining us again for our second episode of Credit Puppet. Today's episode, we're going to talk about credit scoring.
Ooh.
Over the next 5 episodes, we're going to dive really deep into really the different aspects of credit scoring. Today, we're going to stick just about credit scores themselves.
You like to score, huh?
That's right. And a lot of people ask, what is a credit score?
Yeah.
And credit scoring has been around for a long time, and it's a way for lenders to quantify the risk that a certain lender represents when they do a loan. And quite some time ago, there's a company called Fair Isaac Corporation, and they basically came up with an algorithm. And an algorithm simply is a very long mathematical equation designed to come to an end. And that end is a credit score. There's a lot of information on a credit report, and what the scoring model does, it scores over 50 items on your credit report and quantifies everything and comes up with a final number that lenders use to tell if you are a good risk or a bad risk when they make a loan to you. So, in a nutshell, that basically is credit scoring.
Does that mean, like, my whole credit history is one big math problem?
Yes and no, CP. Basically, a credit score is the math problem at any one time. So your credit score is, if you got your credit score today, it would be a snapshot of what your score is today, not over your whole history.
Oh, okay.
But over 50 items are being scored on that credit report at any given time.
Wow, that's a lot.
Now, where things get confusing in credit scores is there's a lot of different types of credit score. CP, you may have heard of FICO. We just talked about what that was.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a Beacon score, a Vantage score.
Wow.
Another thing a lot of people don't realize is there are different scores for different industries. The mortgage industry has one score. The auto industry will have a different one. The insurance industry has a different score. A lot of people, CP, don't even know that the insurance industry is using credit scores to basically determine what your insurance rates are. Happens all the time, more and more. Wow. There's also a score designed just for employment. A lot of people don't know that when you sign an application for a job, you're giving the employer the right, in a lot of cases, to check your credit score before they hire you.
Oh my gosh, I never knew that.
Especially in the financial industry, or where there's a risk that you may give away financial or company secrets.
Did you check mine before I came up?
Now I trust you. I trust you.
Good.
So there are a lot of different scores. Now, prior to 2003, lenders and banks didn't even want you to know what credit scores they were using, what credit scores were. But the Congress enacted the FACTA Act, which is the Fair and Accurate Transaction Credit Act, which basically gave us the right to see our scores and know what the lenders are using to get to that score. We also have the right, since 2003, to get 1 free credit score a year from the credit bureaus. Okay?
Credit power!
So, let's talk about the FICO score a little bit. The FICO score is the score that the credit industry uses most often. Probably over 95 to 100% of the time. Okay? And those credit scores, a FICO credit score, starts at 300, which is very low. That's bad credit. If you're into 3, 4, and today 5 and 600s is even considered poor credit.
It doesn't sound bad.
And the range goes all the way up, CP, all the way up to 850.
Ooh, okay.
So remember in our first episode, if you saw it, we said the magic number right now is 750 or above. So we want to get our credit scores between 750 and 850. If you're there, you have good credit, you're probably going to be able to get loans. And the best news is if you're in that range, you're going to be able to get the best deals possible. So that's our goal. Everybody who's watching today, let's get our scores between 750 and 850. And there's not a lot of people at 850. That's almost impossible to get to. There are 5 factors going into the credit score. We have 35% is your payment history. Do you pay your bills? 30% is amounts owed. How is your debt? 15% is the length of your credit history. That, CP, is why older people tend to have better credit scores than younger people.
So longer is better?
Longer is always better, CP. 10% is the type of credit you have, and another 10% is new credit, or how much credit have you gone out searching for lately. Now, one thing that we want to talk to our audience about, CP, that they want to be aware of is that a lot of times, remember, credit reports can be free, but credit scores are typically not free.
Not
you typically have to buy them.
Yeah.
A lot of people are out there selling what we call in the industry is FACO scores. Or scoring models that don't use the 300 to 850 model. Okay?
Oh, so there's more than one model?
There's many more than one model. The biggest one out there that people are pushing is called the Vantage Score model, which goes from 501 to 990.
But that's different.
It sure is, and all it does is confuse consumers.
It confuses me.
And let me give you an example of where this may hurt you. Let's say you go buy a credit score and you didn't know, and you bought one of these FACO Vantage scores, and you have a 750. You think your credit is good. You tell all your friends, I watch Credit Puppet, he said 750 is good. But you go down to the bank to get a loan, they pull your FICO score, and what you thought was 750 is now somewhere in the 500s or 600s, and they deny you to get credit. Well, that's not good. So our consumers need to be very careful when they go out and buy their credit scores on the internet, which is where most people get them. There's a lot of sites to get credit reports and scores. You want to make sure that they're selling you a true FICO score. Make sure the range is from 300 on the low end to 850 on the high end. And then when you go see your banker or your lender, you know exactly where you're going to be. You're not going to be wasting your time or lowering your score with a new inquiry.
FICO knowledge is power.
One of the newest credit news that came out several weeks ago, a great place to go, we used to tell people all the time to get a FICO score, is www.myfico.com. The consumer website for the Fair Isaac Corporation, who came up with the FICO score. But one of the credit bureaus, Experian, is no longer allowing them to sell a FICO score with the Experian credit report. They only will let be sold a Vantage score. So I don't think that is fair to consumers. So again, we just want to make you aware of it when you're out there buying a credit score. Make sure that you are getting a FICO score on the range of 300 to 850. Okay? It'd be nice if the credit bureaus could focus more on making sure that the information on a credit report is correct than worrying about getting this new Vantage score into having all the lenders use that. We have a great precedent set with the FICO score, and I would hope that the industry stays with that, and long term, that's what I expect.
I hope that's
okay, CP, so let's recap today's show real quick.
Okay.
Remember that credit scoring is a predictor of risk that lenders use to see if we're a good risk when we get a loan. We want to stick with FICO scores, a range from 300 to 850.
Okay.
And stay away from those FACO Vantage scores.
Vantage.
All right, credit?
All right.
CP, let's wrap it up.
Okay, now that we've blown your credit mind, we're out of time. So, if you have any other questions, remember to go over to www.creditpuppet.blogspot.com. And we'll see you next time on
Credit Puppet!
That was really good. You know, I never knew that about the scores.